Good morning, everybody. Today I want to talk to you about how you can jump start into the transition. So no matter where you are in the process, whether you are going from meat eater to vegetarian to vegan to just a more cleaner way of eating, whatever, this is a way to jump start you, where instead of taking 2 weeks, you can just take a couple of days and get you to where you would be in 2 weeks, say. So it's just a way to, no matter what level you're at, this works. And sometimes I even do this, like to reset my my taste buds, because that's really what we're doing with this, is resetting our taste buds. We need to clean out everything, kind of let them kind of forget some of the things that we've been feeding them. And I do this sometimes whenever I am changing to, say, just going to a temporary diet. Maybe I'm just going to do raw food or just juice or just, you know, taking something out of my diet or making it cleaner. Anything, anytime you're going to make a change in your diet, this will work for you. So whether it's a, you know, temporary change or a permanent change, this works really well. And so what you're going to do is to jump start into the transition. If you're really serious, you really want to really bounce forward and not take as long, what will really get you going with this is to do a 2-day fast. Okay, that's where for 2 days you don't eat anything, you just drink nothing but water. You drink lots and lots of water, probably about 1 gallon a day. Now, of course, if you're diabetic or if you're on any medication, you probably want to check with your doctor first. And because I know that there's, with diabetics, and then, you know, there's a lot of, food is very important in that situation. And also, if you're on medication, a lot of medications you have to take with meals. So you definitely would want to check with your doctor before you would do this. But pretty much anybody can do a fast, you know, very safely. Even for up to 10 days, pretty much anybody can do a 10-day fast very safely. We're only talking about 2 days here, okay? Just 2 days. It's a very short fast, but it's very powerful. And there's 2 things that are going to happen. Number 1 is you are going to cleanse your body. Your body needs a break. Your body needs a break. Your digestive system needs a break. You're constantly putting all this food in there, food that you probably shouldn't be putting in there, and just, you know, maybe too much food or whatever. And your digestive system needs a break. You eat, you know, 3 times a day, your digestive system just needs a break. And so when you're not putting all that food in there, and you can learn more about this in my fasting video, and goes into more details about that. But you can, what you do by fasting is you give your body a chance just to not have to deal with food for 2 days. Okay, the body is saying, if I could just get a break, if I could just not have to deal with all the food. It takes more energy to digest food than any other activity you could ever do. That is how much energy it takes to digest food. It takes so much energy, more energy than any other activity. The body undergoes a lot of taking away a lot of energy to digest food, process it and all that. So by not eating and just drinking lots and lots of water, which is going to help keep your stomach feeling full, and that really does help. And this is going to do is going to reset your body. Is going to be able to give your body a chance to have energy to take care of things, to kind of clean house, like a spring cleaning. It's going to put everything back in order the way that it should go. Just kind of give it a chance to, you know, clean house, get things in order, and not be trying to deal with food coming in constantly. So when you think about it like that, it just really shows you how it motivates me, you know, to think, and I keep thinking, yes, my body is able to take a break from food, have the energy to put things back where it needs to go, and just kind of clean house and get things in order to be able to receive the food that I'm going to start putting into it. And so number 1, it allows your body to clean house and to not be weighted down with the huge task of digesting food and taking all that energy. Number two, what it's going to do is reset your taste buds. And this is the really, really important part for you, because when you're constantly eating all these things, they're highly sweetened and highly salty and stimulating and all these different flavors going on. You really need to reset your taste buds, because I guarantee you that after not eating food for 2 days, anything you put in your mouth is going to taste really good. And so you want to be able to sort of retrain your taste buds to be able to pick up the naturally sweet and naturally salty things in our food innately that's already there, and not be so, just so used to all the synthetic flavors that we're used to. So just want to clean your palate. It will cleanse your palate, reset your taste buds, and help you to start over with a clean slate, so that you can begin tasting real food, seeing what real food tastes like. And surprisingly, I mean, if you're eating candy every day and then you go and eat, a piece of fruit, it is not going to taste nearly as sweet to you, because I keep going back to this again because it's true. It's like a drug. I mean, food is a drug. And when you keep putting that highly, just, you keep needing more and more and more. When you're putting something sweet in your mouth like that and it's not natural, you keep needing more and more and more of it. So to eat something like a fruit that might not taste as sweet to you, but if you weren't eating those other things, the fruit would taste very sweet to you. The same way with vegetables, they have their own salt in them. They come out of the ground, and salt's a mineral and it's in the ground, and so vegetables naturally have their own salt to them, but we don't really taste it that much because we're so used to eating all these other things that are highly salty. But I'm not saying we don't use salt. We do still add salt, but we just don't need to add as much. So it's going to allow your taste buds, it's going to allow you to be more sensitive to salty and sweet. So you're going to pick up those tastes a lot quicker. You're going to be like, oh, this is really salty, or oh, this is really sweet. And so you're going to be able to detect that and be able to pick up on those things and be more sensitive to it. And that's what you want to do when you want to start out and start over. And also, you're going to notice that your stomach's going to be a lot flatter. You may even lose some weight just after a couple days of not eating anything. And most of the time, that's just water weight that you're losing. It's not actual fat, because it takes 3,500 calories to not eat 3,500 calories that you need, or 3,500 calories less, to equal 1 pound. So in a couple of days, just a very short period of time, you're not going to lose actual fat pounds. And you will lose some water and some salts out of your body, and that's where you'll see the scale go down, but after you start eating again, it will come back. So I did a 7-day fast the very first time I ever did a fast, and it was a very eye-opening experience, let me tell you. There's so many things that you learn about yourself that don't even have to do with food, really. I mean, it has to do with the body. It has to do with, your spiritual part, too. Because if you have ever thought that you were not human, or ever thought you were so perfect, you will realize how human you are if you go without food. I mean, just 1 day without food. I mean, even just to miss one meal is very hard for us, because we are human, and we see how much we rely on food. I mean, we're so human. We're so flesh. We're carnal. That just shows you. I mean, we rely on it so much, and it's if you really think about it. I mean, food, one thing that I learned is that food is not the primary source of our energy. It's not the primary source of our strength, and it's not the primary source of our existence, or the primary source of our strength and power. God is our primary source of strength and of power, and He is our existence, our reason, our being. The Bible says, in you I live and move and have my being. God is the source and the reason for our existence. the food we eat is secondary. I mean, he gave us the food as a means by which we could be strengthened, but he is the source of all life. He is the way, the truth, and the life. Christ is the life. He is the life giver, and our strength really comes from him. Our strength comes from, the Bible says that through him all things hold together. And through him is where we really have our true life. That he is the source of life. He's the source of our power and our strength and our existence. So every day about 3 o'clock in the afternoon when I would be fasting, because I did it for 7 days, and I've done a 10-day, and I've done longer ones, but about 3 o'clock in the afternoon would be the time when it would just like really be the hardest. And so I would just get down on my knees and pray, and that would just be the strength that I would receive when I would get up off my knees. It was just incredible, because he is where you get your strength from. And if you don't have faith, you know, you need to, because I can imagine, you know, it will be difficult. But if you don't have faith, then you can talk to God or think about him, and, you know, even if you don't believe in him, I know that sounds really strange, but I don't know any other way. Think about him, talk to him, tell him you don't believe in him, tell him why you don't believe in him. You know, just think on these things, and just, it might not be good if you know, you're thinking in a negative sense, but call out to him and talk to him and tell him all your frustrations, and you know, you find a lot of spiritual strength when you don't feed your flesh. Even physically, do not feed your flesh. You find a lot of spiritual strength. I don't know what it is about, but when you quit feeding your flesh, you really turn on your sensitivity to your spirit and to spiritual things, and the things of the spirit are closer to you, and you learn a lot. So I don't want to go into all the details about that, because I have a whole other video on it, and there is a lot that you learn from that. The thing that you're going to find when you are fasting, which is really exciting, because you would think the complete opposite. You would think that you would just have no energy at all. Okay, let me try to explain this. You are going to be weaker. You're not going to feel strong. There are certain things you're going to find you cannot do. They expend way too much of your energy. So you don't need to be like doing a lot of heavy like aerobics or, you know, a lot of activity. I mean, you can do your normal activity, but you're not going to want to do colonics or anything like that. You're not going to want to expend any energy. Like driving takes a lot of energy. You're not going to want to like be doing a lot of that all day long. Anything that causes a lot of stress, arguing, things like that, you just don't have the energy to spend on that, okay? Which is really kind of a life lesson right there. You think you do, but you really don't have the energy for it. When you're fasting, you can tell you don't have the energy for that. So just be careful to not expend too much of your energy, but does not mean you have to be a couch potato. I was working physically, laboring when I fasted, and this is the part that is really the opposite of what you would think, is that when you're fasting, because digesting food takes so much energy away from you. Yes, eating food gives you energy, but first it must take energy from you. So when you're not digesting food, you have so much energy. I mean, your energy just goes through the roof. It almost makes you want to wish you never had to eat again, because you have so much energy. Exercising becomes not an issue. It's not an issue at all. It's like, what can I do? Please let me move. Please let me do some jumping jacks or something. You just start moving on naturally. You don't have to try to make yourself exercise. You want to. You have to, because you have so much energy. So it's really ironic, because you think, well, I'm not eating. How do I have all this energy? Not saying that you're not weak. I mean, there's certain things where like lifting your arms over your head is just harder to do. You just feel weak and things like that. But the energy that it gives you is unbelievable. And if I could bottle that and sell it, man, I would make a lot of money. Because when you don't eat and you're not taking all that energy that it takes to digest food, your energy level is going to be just unbelievably through the roof. That's very exciting. I wish I could just stay that way all the time, but and you just learn so much because your mind is so like clear and sober, and you're just constantly thinking and coming up with these ideas and like, I need to write this down. It is really a very eye-opening experience. It's very exciting. So that's something that you could look forward to. Now, let me caution you that this is a short fast, so it's only 2 days. But those first 2 days, I mean, they're not really that fun and exciting at all. They're actually very, very hard because you are detoxing. You're getting rid of these toxins in your body. And when your body is getting rid of toxins, you're going to feel, I don't know any good way to say it. You're going to feel really trashy. You're going to feel really bad. You're going to have really bad headaches, like a migraine probably for the 2 whole days, at least by the end of the first day and into the second day. And you know, but that is a sign that it is working. That is a sign that toxins are coming out of your body. So anytime that you change where you're just helping push all that stuff out of your system, you're going to see those effects of headaches. You're going to get, especially if you drink a lot of coffee and caffeine and energy drinks and sodas and things, you're going to have a headache when you don't drink that, okay? Guarantee you, you're going to have a headache. Bad headache. Yeah, it's not something to look forward to. I would get a herbal pillow ready, you know, or some lavender. If you can go to the health food store and get some lavender oil. They're called essential oils. Get some lavender. It's really good at releasing tension and headache, and you can put it on a like a wet washcloth, and it's so strong it only takes like 1 or 2 drops. Put it on there and just put that over your nose and mouth and just breathe that in while you're laying down, and that will help. Or take a bath and put maybe 1 or 2 drops. It does not take much. They're very strong. And breathing that in, it really, really will help ease the tension. But the fact that this is a headache that's not coming really from tension, it's coming from toxins, it may not ease it a whole lot. I never tried to ease it when I was when I was fasting and detoxing. There's other symptoms you might get. You might get flu-like symptoms. I mean, this, again, it's just a 2-day fast. It's very short, so you might not have a long time to really see the full effects of completely getting toxins out of your body. You will see the beginning of it. The headache is one thing you'll definitely get, and then you'll get might have some flu-like achiness, you know. You might even get some congestion or cough and sneezing. Any of that kind of stuff is disease coming out of your body, which is a great thing. That's a really good sign. But some things that I found that were very comforting and soothing to me besides prayer was very strengthening. The other thing that was very comforting and soothing to me was to take a really warm or hot bath. Very comforting. Or just to lay down and curl up with a soft blanket and just rest. Just those things there are other things that are comforting besides food, you know. So you just have to find those things. A good book, but you don't really want to spend your energy too much as far as like reading something complicated or anything like that. Anything that takes a lot of your brain power, you wouldn't want to be doing like mathematical equations or anything like that. You just don't have the energy for that in that way. Anyway, it is an exciting thing. It will definitely jumpstart you into this transition. I would definitely highly encourage you to try it. I at least want to let you know that that is an option that you can do to go ahead and get started, to just jump you right in. I mean, just jump you way ahead on this journey if you're wanting to make a transition. But it's something you might have to work up to just in your mind, you know, just to anytime before I go on a fast, I kind of have to, in my mind, kind of work myself up to, okay, you know, you're not going to be eating for the next few days, and so I have to take a few days and I kind of start backing off of my other, you know, backing off of the food, kind of weaning yourself off of food to prepare yourself to not be eating food. So just kind of eating less and less. That kind of leads me into the next part that I wanted to talk about. And that is that whenever you are trying to make this transition, say for instance you eat meat, say you're eating meat and you want to try to go into a vegetarian diet. you could do it where if you eat meat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, then just start eliminating the meat from your breakfast and only have meat for lunch and dinner. And then the next step would be eliminate meat from your breakfast and your lunch and only have meat at dinner time. And do that for a while. And then see if you can go one night or like a whole day without meat. No meat for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. See if you can do that. And then once you have done that, try to do 2 nights a week or 2 days a week without any meat. No meat for dinner either. And then, it maybe if you're not to that point yet, maybe you're just just trying to eat clean meats, then try to go like a whole month. Only eating the clean meat, not eating any of the unclean. Just say, okay, we're going to go a whole month and we're only going to eat the clean meat. Just try it for a month and then try it for 2 months. Or if you're further along and maybe you're already not eating meat, then you could say, okay, we're going to go 1 whole day without dairy. Let's just try 1 day without dairy. And you will be really surprised at how much dairy, if you're eating dairy, is a part of your life. It will be really hard to be like, I didn't realize that this is how much dairy I'm eating. And if you're already vegan and you're not eating any dairy now, then if you're eating like vegetables and fruits and nuts and seeds and grains, then try to eliminate the nuts and seeds, because the nuts and seeds are something that we're only supposed to eat like a handful a day. We're not even supposed to eat very much of that because they're very, very high in fat, so it's very easy to get way too much. There's a reason that seeds come in this hard shell that you have to crack open and pick them out, because you're not supposed to just be able to shove handfuls into your mouth. You're supposed to just eat a little bit. And it's very easy to go over on fat. So people who are into eating like raw food, the raw foodists, it's very easy for them to overeat on like nuts and seeds and the fatty stuff. And then you realize that it's in a lot of things that we will fix, like in a lot of desserts and nut crusts and casseroles, and we make sauces out of it and all kinds of things out of nuts and seeds. And the meal, instead of flour, they'll use the meal, almond meal, the nut meal ground up. And so if you're, maybe eating fruits and vegetables, or if you're into raw food, maybe you need to completely eliminate the fat out for 1 day and see, wherever you're at, just seeing if you can eliminate something. It really becomes a chore because it's really kind of difficult when you think about how much you're putting in. Now, the goal is to just keep it all balanced. Don't eat too much of those things that you don't need a lot of. But that's why I think these green smoothies come in so useful is a word, really good word, because they really help take out, it really kind of puts things in balance, because if you have a green smoothie for breakfast, that's all you're going to have. I mean, you've started your day out completely healthy with just fruit and greens, raw greens, and that really pushes all those other things out, so you're not like looking around the house for something to eat constantly, because you've gotten nutrified. You've gotten all your nutrition that you need. And so that is a big key. And like the Green Smoothie Girl says, she says that making green smoothies in your kitchen is the highest and best use of your time in the kitchen. And I really believe that. I mean, it really is. It's the best economically, the best for your time and everything. It gives you so much for your money and for your time. It gives you so much nutrition. It goes a long way. And the thing is, you really can't, I talk about, you don't want to overeat on anything, even something that's good for you, but it's really hard to overeat fruits and vegetables and raw greens. That's just really hard to do. I mean, when you're eating raw vegetables or even cooked vegetables, it's very hard to overeat, because especially the raw. If you ever overeaten a salad, I mean, yeah, when you put salad dressings that are real fatty on it, you might, but I mean, just eating raw salads and raw vegetables, if you were just to sit there and eat that, you're not going to overeat, because the calories are so small compared to the amount. You've got such a huge amount, and your stomach is going to fill up. And you're hardly going to eat any calories at all. And eaten any calories at all, and you're going to feel very, very full. It's very hard to overeat on these types of foods. And so natural foods, it's very hard to overeat a natural food. They're not addictive. It's like so easy to overeat on things that do not offer nutrition and don't offer us anything, because they're not providing anything. We are constantly trying to get it, so we keep putting it in our mouth, so we do overeat. But it's very hard to overeat unnatural food. They're not addicted. Natural foods are not addictive. And strawberries, you don't ever hear of anybody getting addicted to strawberries. Have you ever had anybody get up in the middle of the night and creep into the refrigerator to get broccoli? Like, I just had to have some broccoli? No, because it's not addictive. It's not something you just had to have. It's natural. Now, I can tell you that there's been a couple of times when we had to go like a couple of weeks, like 2 weeks, without any smoothies. And for one, our blender, it had was time for a new one, and so I had to wait for it to come in. And for a couple of weeks to go without smoothies, I mean, by the end, halfway through that second week, we're like, oh my goodness, we really need a smoothie. But it wasn't like, oh, I've got to have it, I've got to have it. You know, it was like, I need it. I need it. I need to be strengthened. You know, I just feel weak. I need it. Not like I'm addicted and I have to have it. But it's like, I need it. I need this. So, natural foods are not addictive. So, another thing is, once you go on this transition where you're eating something different than you've eaten before, and I was talking about all the benefits that you're going to get, you're going to see benefits right away on certain things, but you still have a little bit of a journey to go through, because you have to think about it. You didn't get to where you are overnight, and it's not going to go away overnight. So, you know, if you put, for however many years you've been putting these things in your body, it's going to take some time. If you've been, you know, if you've been putting bad things and all these things in your body for 30 years, it's not going to happen like in 2 weeks that you're going to be back to where you were. But the good thing is, it doesn't take another 30 years to turn it around. It really doesn't. The body is very, very highly efficient. And in 1 year, you could be a whole new person, really. You could be a whole new person. And within 1 month, you could really change a lot in your life. You would be amazed. And so... And this is another really exciting thing that our nutritionist taught us, and that is that every 7 years the body completely regenerates. Every single molecule in your body completely changes, for better or for worse. So depending on what you're putting in your body, starting today for the next 7 years, depending on what you put in your body, every single molecule in your body will completely regenerate every 7 years, for better or for worse, depending on what you're putting in your body. So every day, the choices you make, you're making your body better or worse, sicker or healthier. And when you think about that on the molecule level, we're talking genetics, we're talking chromosomes. You can actually change your genes and your genetics, your chromosomes. So where your children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, you could offer them a whole nother life. And that's why when you go to the doctor and you have like problems, they ask you what your history is. They ask you, you know, did your father have heart disease? Did your mother have heart disease? Does heart disease or stroke or any of these things run in your family? Does anybody in your family, is there a history of it? They're asking you this because it is passed down. We do pass down these things to our children. And so, you know, and our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, our posterity, we pass these diseases down. So when that child comes together, and I mean, when that man and woman comes together and makes that child, and I talked about this in another video, I think it was the knowledge video, when those two people come together, they start a child, and that child doesn't start out completely brand new. They start out with everything from both sides of those parents all the way back. So you kind of come out starting somewhere. You're not a clean slate. You start out with this premise. You have everything's, you've already got something going on in your body. You're not like perfectly healthy when you're born. You have a good start, but you come with these, I don't know how to say it, so like predisposition, like predisposed to certain things, so you might have a tendency, like if you didn't eat healthy, you would have a tendency for this to happen or for that to happen. Sickness is just coming out in different ways. It's all still the same root problem. It's a disease. It just might show up as one sickness or another kind of sickness, and just depending on where that gene is weak or at, it might come out as one disease instead of the other. But that is very exciting that, starting today, you could go ahead and say, I'm going to choose to eat differently. And from now, the next 7 years, you could completely regenerate whole new, chromosomes and everything to pass down to your posterity, to your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, and be a really good idea for someone who's very young and hasn't started a family yet. To have 7 years to be able to prepare, and for the other person that they're going to marry have 7 years to prepare, and then come together and have a very healthy baby, healthy child. That would be, knowledge is a really good thing. Helps us to make good choices. And the point I wanted to make sure that you understand is that talking about jump starting you into this transition is just a way to really help you get going pretty quickly at whatever part of the process that you are in, or to kind of restart you. This is not talking about jumping in overnight and just doing everything at one time. That's obviously not what I've been talking about, because there are different levels of progression. Now, whatever you feel you can handle, you can go ahead and start at whatever point you're at. But just keep in mind that if you do just jump in and start doing something just drastically, really, really quickly, you may regress a little bit, because it's just kind of a shock to your system and to your mind and your body, and it's usually things that you do a little slower and you take a little bit more time to do, usually are longer lasting than something that you just jump into overnight. It usually doesn't last that long. I mean, we know that with even other things like relationships. The things that take more time usually last longer than things that we just jump right into. And but that doesn't mean that you can't go ahead and start doing whatever you feel you are capable of in your mentally and physically, able to do. But slowly but surely you will get there. So this is just a way to help you jumpstart into your program. Okay, one other thing I want to talk about when it comes to the transition is a lot of times when people go on a new way of eating or new anything that they're doing, it's very hard for them, it seems like, not to go to extremes. And I want to talk about this for a minute, because a lot of times people go to extremes with things, and I guess it's in an attempt to really get it right. And sometimes, if we're over here on this side of the ditch, sometimes we go over to this side of the ditch instead of just coming into the middle of the road. Now, sometimes when you're trying to find your place, that is kind of what happens, because you're way over here, and so you go way over here, so that, just so that you can see where the edges are, and then come back to the middle so that you can find where the middle is. I understand that, got to find both sides of the spectrum in order to find the middle. But once you found the middle, stay there, because that is where the balance is. You don't want to be out of balance. You don't want to be on either extreme. The Bible says that he is wise who avoids all extremes. He who is wise will avoid all extremes. And so you don't want to go to extremes. Just keep things in balance, because that is the way things were created to be, was in balance. And so we'll probably talk more about that later, but I see that a lot. I see that a lot in the diet industry. When I talk about diet, I mean the food you're eating. I'm not talking about like eating less food or losing weight. I'm talking about the diet that you're on, the food that you're eating. When you see that in the world of nutrition, a lot of times you see a lot of people that really go to crazy extremes with their diet and with food. And there are times, I believe, when it is called for to go to an extreme, but it serves a purpose, and it's supposed to be a short-lived thing, just like fasting or anything else like that. It's supposed to be a short-lived thing with an end purpose in mind. It's not the way that you're to live all the time. And it does serve a purpose, a very good purpose, and it's powerful, but it's not something that, you know, you're going to do forever all the time. And so we don't want to live in those extremes. And I think that our enemy has us constantly distracted with keeping us either on this side of the ditch or on this side of the ditch. He doesn't really care what side of the ditch we're on, as long as we're not on the straight and narrow and we're not going down the road that we need to go. So I just want to caution you against those extremes. And like I said in the beginning, you know, in order to find that middle road, you do want to you know, kind of feel where the boundaries are, you know, so you may go way over here because you were way over there, just so you can find the middle, but that's fine. But once you get there, you know, stay in balance with everything, because everything in nature all around us is about being in balance, and it's not about being on the edge. And having said that, I'm not talking about not being committed. You can be 100% totally dedicated and committed. That's not extreme. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a spectrum, of a horizontal spectrum, where you're not over here, but you found the way that is most balanced, and then you can go deep with that. You can go 100% committed and dedicated in that balance. You can go 100%, and you know, that may seem extreme to some people, but it makes sense, and it works. And so you can be 100% committed doing that. But just, we all know those people and types of things that are on the fringe, what we call on the fringe, that are just totally it doesn't even seem to make sense, and it's just really, really strange and really out there. Now, you know, some people, that's all relevant. I mean, some people may think the way that I eat is strange, but it makes sense to me, and it's you know, and I'm really, really excited and happy about it, and I do it, you know, 100%. I tried it for 100% to do it right, but I don't always do it 100%. But my passion for it is 100%. So. But anyway, just want to caution you on that, because there are a lot of people out there that will just go to crazy extremes, and I've seen a lot, and it's like, you know, you just do what makes sense, you know, to do that. Don't be crazy about it. Do your research, read, and you'll do well. Another thing I wanted to say about fasting is that this is something that was very natural, that happened naturally, and people would start to do this whenever they would get upset about something or something bad would happen. They wouldn't eat. They would just pray and just think about that thing and try to figure it out and not be eating. So this was a natural thing that people began to do for as long as we've been around, and so it's a very natural thing to fast. It really does help you it keeps your mind very sharp. It really helps you to think a lot. And as I had said before, wish that, you know, with all the energy that I have when I'm fasting, I wish that I didn't have to eat, but because it does take so much energy away. But you know, I believe we'll be eating in heaven. The Bible says we'll have a feast, sit down at the feast together, and it says that the leaves of the trees are for the healings of the nations, and that there's fruit on the trees. And I look forward to that. I believe that we will be eating in heaven. I don't think that's the symbolic part. I believe that we will. Jesus ate right before he went up to heaven, so he had a body that could digest food, and he wasn't floating around like a spirit. So I believe that we will have real bodies and real food, and we'll really eat. And it says it's for the healing of the nations. I think that we'll continue to realize our dependence on God for our food, and that we will continue to eat those things, just like Adam and Eve. They ate, and they ate the leaves, and they ate the fruit, and it was, you know, they were eating from the tree of life, so they would never, you know, they never would die. It was totally from God. It was totally part of their existence. And so I believe we'll be eating in heaven. But the other thing I wanted to say about the fasting is, as far as it being safe for you and everything, they used to have people that would go on these hunger strikes, and they wouldn't eat because until whatever they wanted done was done, or whatever they wanted corrected was corrected. And I guess, maybe at their job or whatever, but they would go on these hunger strikes, and I don't know how that was supposed to make someone do something. And I guess just because they didn't want to see them, they were really hurting themselves, but to seeing them, hungry and not eating, but they would not eat. And so for about on day 50 or day 55, they would start to die. So you really don't want to go, 40 might be a safe number of days to do a complete fast, but you don't want to go over that, because you start to get to day 50 and 55, and when true hunger sets in, you will die pretty quickly. So 10 days, 2 days, 7 days, you'll be perfectly safe to do that. And also want to mention that the disciples fasted 2 days a week. They completely fasted 2 days a week every week. I think that's an awesome discipline that I wish that we could do. I feel that it's needed again. I feel that in this day, and the way that we completely stuff ourselves and satisfy ourselves constantly, I really think it would be a very good discipline for our mind and for our spirit to be able to fast at least 1 day a week, just to seek God and seek what He wants in our lives. So anyway, it was a very natural part of the disciples' life to fast twice a week, 2 whole days a week. So anyway, it's very, very safe for you to do, and very, very healthy actually for you to go without food. Very healthy. What's not healthy is stuffing ourselves to death. That's not healthy. No one cautions you against that, No one cautions you against eating too much. They just caution you against not eating. Well, we don't have a problem with that in this country. We don't have a problem with, starving or not eating. Our problem is we get too much. So we're dying from affluence, not from poverty. And that's, again, talking about those extremes. You need to be in balance. You don't want to be starving to death where you're having disease and you're getting sick, and you don't want to be so stuffing yourself that you're getting disease and getting sick. Neither one of them is good, so you just want to be in balance. But fasting does serve an end purpose. And with this, it's going to help jumpstart you back onto getting your taste buds reset, and it's going to be very powerful to help you get back on to a different diet than what you're used to right now. If you don't like the way water tastes, for instance, when you say, I don't like water, I don't like the way it tastes, translation is, I'm addicted to caffeine, sodas, tea, coffee. That's what it means. Sugar, I'm addicted to sugar. Because water's not going to taste good when you are used to drinking all those things. When you're drinking sodas and stuff with a lot of sugar and caffeine in it and all that, you're not going to think water tastes good. No, you're not. That's the whole purpose of doing a fast, is to completely reset all that, reset your palate. And water will actually begin to taste sweet to you. And you can even put a little bit of lemon in it, and that really is good, or lime. So I have a lot of energy. No, I have not been fasting, but I have exercised the last 2 days a lot more than I normally do, and that usually gives me a lot of energy, plus just getting excited about what I want to share with you today. So the other thing I wanted to say is there's a reason why I am doing these health videos, and there's a reason why I feel very strongly about this, why I feel very, very strongly about being healthy and eating healthy, and I just wanted to share it with you, is that, as this Earth's history comes to a close, as this Earth is waxing old like a garment, there's going to be things coming that we're going to need to, there are going to be some decisions that we're going to need to make. Some very important, and a very important decision that we're going to need to make as this earth draws to a close. We know we're in the last days. We've been in the last days for a long time, but it gets closer and closer all the time. And there's going to be some very important decisions to make, one very important decision in particular. And so in order to make a very important decision, what do you need to have? You need to be sober, you need to be alert, you need to have a very strong, sharp mind, a mind that's able to make decisions critically thinking, logically thinking, and not a mind that is just so just drowsy and bombarded with all these things, just clouded and just when you eat all these different foods, it just causes us to be so just foggy headed and not clearly thinking, and just a drowsiness, like a drunkenness. And that's what gluttony is. When we eat too much, we're drunk off of food because it makes us drowsy and foggy headed, and we don't have a clear mind. And able to make a good judgment on something, to be able to make right decisions, very important decisions, we need to have a sober mind. We need to have a clear mind. We need to be able to think critically. And when we can't do that, either because our minds are not clear or because we are hurting and in pain and sick, that we can't even try to think about making a good decision, and we're just really desperate. Healthy bodies produce healthy minds. And so we need to have clear minds, because there are going to be decisions we're going to have to make in this world. And if it's not us making that decision, if we've passed on, then we know that our children or our grandchildren or our great-grandchildren are somewhere along the line, if not us, they are going to be making these decisions. And if we care about them, we need to be making our bodies and their bodies healthy and teaching them how to make healthy bodies, how to prepare healthy foods, and how to eat right, so that they and their children, their children's children, can have healthy bodies that will produce healthy minds, that will help us to be able to make these decisions that we're going to have to make at some point in this world. So that is my main reason for eating healthy. As far as a future reason, it's a huge reason, it's the ultimate reason. But in the meantime, from day to day, we need to take care of this temple. This is the temple of the Holy Spirit. If you have Christ living in you, the Holy Spirit living in you, then the Bible says we should take care of our bodies, and because it is the temple of the Holy Spirit. And if you don't have Christ living in you, you don't believe in that, taking care of your body is a good thing to do, to live longer. And you want to be able to, it's just it is a very spiritual thing, whether you know that or not. It is a spiritual thing to take care of your body, and it is an act of worship. You're worshiping the one who gave you this body by putting good things into it, and you will be rewarded for putting good in, and you'll suffer consequences for not putting good things into it. And it can be a very huge learning process, and really for the rest of our life we will be learning. I don't think we'll ever quit learning. We're always going to be learning for the rest of eternity, or the rest of our life, how to about things and about how to take care of ourselves, and it's a journey. It's just a journey. Life is a journey. So anyway, I wanted to share this with you about how to get how to jump start into the transition. If you'll do that 2-day fast, it will really, really jumpstart you. By the time that you're done with it, though, the worst of it will be over. The first 2 days are the hardest of anything, but it's only 2 days, so it's very short, and by the time you're done with those 2 days, it's pretty much all the symptoms, for the most part, will be over with. And you could do it longer if you wanted to, but really just to start into a transition to a different diet, to reset your taste buds, to cleanse your body, give it a chance to kind of clean house and get ready to receive other foods. This is it's very powerful for the short period of time that it is, and it's really not necessary to go a whole lot longer than that unless you have other reasons that you want to do that. But if you're just transitioning to another diet, it's very, very good. It's very helpful. I found it very helpful. And so I just wanted to share that with you. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And you can reach me at destiny-dawn.blogspot.com, or my email is righttouchdetail@bellsouth.net. Thanks for watching.